So, to branch off from there, let's talk about Medicare a little bit because it's like a whole topic on its own.
It is. That's probably an hour-long discussion. But there's different plans out there for Medicare. There are Advantage plans, which are more of a package plan, and then multiple carriers. And then there's Supplemental Medicare, which is more of it's called GAP or Supplemental, and that's where it's a PPO.
Yeah.
And you can take that anywhere. And chiropractic is covered in a lot of the Medicare plans.
Cool.
So it's important for our elderly since we're living longer and longer. And Medicare starts at 65. So it's important for them to still take care of their bodies because they may be around for another 50 some years.
Yeah.
And wouldn't it be great? It's rare for me to get somebody on Medicare who doesn't take any medications or few medications. But a lot of those people do use chiropractic services.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting when I see people with a laundry list of medications that they take, and I ask them about chiropractic or alternative options, and they're really not aware of it or haven't ever used it, whereas people who don't take a whole lot of medication typically are. They're using acupuncture or chiropractic in their
for us,
practice.
With Medicare is we'll run into the issue that Medicare will cover chiropractic. It only covers the adjustment of chiropractic.
Right.
So any PT that we do or anything else is it's gonna get billed, but it's not gonna get covered. So you'll have to cover that cost. And I go, oh, well, I go to this place down the street. They only charge me $8, and they do laser and all this stuff. I'm like, well, they're giving you stuff for free. They're not supposed to. That's $10,000 fine and occurrence. So they're pretty brave to do that.
Right.
We can talk financial hardship and all that kind of stuff, but that's where we go. They go, well, I have supplemental. Won't that cover it? And they don't understand the difference between supplemental Medicare and secondary coverage.
Okay. So Part A and B. Part A is your hospital coverage, so if you have to go in the hospital. Part B is your doctor coverage. Medicare, the basic Medicare, is going to cover about 80% of your coverage. And then after that, that's when you would want an Advantage plan or a supplemental plan. That's going to cover the other 20%.
What Medicare doesn't cover.
What Medicare doesn't cover.
Of what they allow.
Original Medicare, A and B.
Of what they allow. So in our case, in our office, there's only 3 codes that Medicare covers, which is if I adjust anything on your spine, they will cover that.
Okay.
But if we do PT, if we adjust an extremity, if we do any muscle work, any therapies, none of that is covered. So it doesn't cover those codes at all.
Okay.
The supplemental, correct?
No, that's correct. Yeah, they only will cover
They'll cover the other
what was allowed.
The other 20% of the 3 codes that they even allow.
Right. And that's usual and customary in most of
that's
the
what
insurances today. Is
they might
usual
cover
and
80%.
Yeah. Well, no, it covers
up to 80%. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's some exclusions. It's not going to cover everything
right.
all the time, but there are the majority of the coverage that people over 65 require. It's going to cover if you have a supplemental or an Advantage plan along with your A and B, which you can't get supplemental or Advantage without having A and B. But it will cover the majority of it. Now, that doesn't mean they shouldn't use it, right? That's about talking to you and then maybe paying cash for that. It still has a long-term benefit for them to use chiropractic, even if they had to pay $100.
Well, and we'll tell them we're participating, so we're in network with Medicare. So we know what Medicare knows what we're going to bill them. And so you're more than likely what the 20% you pay is going to be all you owe. But if we're non-participating and we bill Medicare, I can bill Medicare $500 for your adjustment. They're not going to pay me 80% of $500. They're going to pay me 80% of what they find.
Whatever
the customary amount, right?
Whatever your negotiated rate is.
Yeah, so you'll pay me 20% of $500 if
it was that high.
If it was that high, but if they only give me $30 back or whatever, $20 back, I now have only collected $120 of $500. I am going to bill you the other $380, right, or whatever's left. And that's the risk of going out of network is they can collect on the difference, right?
Well,
but that's where a supplemental plan can come in and say, well, we'll cover of that other $380, we'll cover up to this and try to settle with the provider or whatever to get closer to $500.
There's again different carriers out there that are going to a Plan G is a Plan G is a Plan G, right?
Okay.
So all the plans are the same through the carrier. It's required. Again, highly regulated area.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking with your agent, your broker, about the plan and how you like to use your insurance, it's important to tell them that chiropractic is something important to you, so that your broker can look at the carrier and see if that's a provision in their coverage, or if that's an exclusion. So there's some that offer gym memberships and discounts towards those kind of things. Some of the Advantage plans include dental, vision, and hearing. So there's different plans.
Is that like what the Silver Sneakers stuff is and things
Silver
like that?
Sneakers, yep.
Okay.
I can't mention their name, but
okay.
Yeah.
Right. That's one people that see at 24-hour fitnesses and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So long story short is they just need to talk it out. They need to hash these things out with somebody. Like
whether you're 18 or you're on Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
There's options.
Zero to
yeah, really
0 to 80 or 90 or
0 to death, whatever. Yeah.